From the EPAWA headquarters in South Allentown, Pennsylvania, it's time for Weather Weeklies, an informative video of the ins and outs of weather that affect you most in the EPAWA coverage area. The following segment is a weekly video blog, and the opinions of the forecaster do not necessarily reflect the opinions of the staff of Eastern PA Weather Authority LLC as a whole, nor its constituents. Without further ado, here is meteorologist Bobby Martrich with Weather Weeklies.
And good Sunday morning to another edition of Weather Weeklies for Sunday, February 14th. And we're going to get into the long-range forecast table like we always do, starting out here. And this is just released, of course, this past Friday. We have a Clipper system move through. That was on Friday night. We set up the weekend that we're now dealing with these very cold temperatures. It was extremely cold early this morning here with temperatures that were record-breaking in some cases. But we're going to have our next snow system that we're looking at is going to be, of course, Monday into Tuesday. And that's what we have our first call out already on this system here, and a final call going out later tonight on this system here. But looks like for the most part across our coverage area from south to north, we're going to start off with snow, change over to sleet, freezing rain, and then over to plain rain. I think most of our area goes over to plain rain except for the far northwestern portions of our coverage area here, and we do get some minor accumulations across most of our area, but a little bit more significant as we get a little bit further northwest. Our next storm signal after this one, at least bigger storm signal, is going to be the 24th or 26th. That is with an amplification to the pattern at that time frame, making sense that there would be a storm, and some of the ensemble guidance is showing that. So this will be our next one. We have one coming in at the end of the month. And then as we head into the month of March here, although it's not indicated here on this table, we're talking about February being below average temperatures above normal snowfall. But we do feel that once we get into March, this pattern will continue. It will be very favorable for at least the first half of March, so we have at least another month to go here yet. So if you haven't gotten enough snow, or haven't gotten enough your fill of snow, we do have the opportunity for more snow and ice concerns throughout the rest for at least another month here through the middle of March of 2016. So let's get into Monday and Tuesday and show you what's going on here with this. First of all, system is going to be diving down into the northern Gulf Coast states. Is going to make the turn and come up here like this. We do feel it's going to move either over or just west of I-95, and this is going to be your track, just like this. So typically when you have a big snowstorm across the majority of our coverage area, you're going to need this to come off the eastern half of North Carolina, and you have a low out here that kind of tracks up here either over or just west of the benchmark. I would say just west for our coverage area here to benefit from a very big snowstorm. So since that's not happening, it's traveling further west. We have warm air advection that's going to be allowed to come in the system on the eastern side of the system. When you have a low pressure, of course, the flow around low pressure is counterclockwise, kind of like this. So any cold air is going to be on the northwest side of the system, coming here like this. Any warm air is going to be on this side of the system. And so since this is tracking to our west here, this warm air is allowed to come up out ahead of it. That's just how physics works. So this is just physics, synoptics, whatever you want to call it. This is a synoptically driven system. So it's because it is cutting a little bit too far inland, that's why you're getting this changeover from snow over to ice, and then rain across the majority of the coverage area. And that's going to go all the way up into northeastern Pennsylvania as well. I think since the area low pressure is going to end up tracking right about here, probably right over Philadelphia or pretty close, those areas far northwest are still on this northwest side where the cold air is coming in, so it keeps it snow, and that's why you get that you don't have a changeover over in those areas. So our greatest snowfall will be on the northwest side of this low from Williamsport back to State College, we think. And then further eastward in northeastern PA, you still get some decent accumulations there, but you will have a changeover there as well. So that's what's going on with that. Yes, it was so cold this weekend here, both Saturday and Sunday, and that's because of this high pressure that is out now, way out here in the Atlantic, has lost its grip on the region. Before, it was sitting either west or right over top of us, which is the case today. You have high pressure, this same high pressure sitting right over top of us here on Sunday, giving us these cold temperatures. The winds are a little bit lighter today, but this is going to be scooting off to the east, and by doing that, you also have clockwise flow around with high pressure in conjunction with this low pressure and the counterclockwise flow around it, bringing the warm air up on both sides. That's why it's going to go from 16 degrees in a lot of places here on Sunday to going to Monday is going to increase about 15 degrees, and then another 15 degrees here on Tuesday. That's what it is, the culprit, the reason of why we're going to be warming up. So this is just a one system. I wouldn't want to get your hopes up either way of, wow, winter's over. We're already starting to get the warm ups in the systems here, not getting a lot of snow. Just relax a little bit. Like I said, we have another month to go here. One of the things we're looking at is the stratosphere high latitude blocking. Now this was looking at last week. This was a model projection last week, and a lot of people say this type of thing can't be predicted. And we had a stratospheric warming episode coming in on both sides of the poles. So if you have the polar vortex sitting right over top of the pole, that's not a good thing if you want cold air to bleed down here in the United States in order to get a cross-polar flow going. But we have one piece of energy split up here, and the other one forecast to split down here. This was the forecast a week ago. Look at the actual. Not much different. Not much different. So this actually did come to fruition with this stratospheric polar vortex actually displacing enough that we're getting into the colder temperatures. So when you look at these stratospheric images, sometimes they work, sometimes they don't. This is a case where they did work, and we have the stratospheric warming episode here working in tandem with the Madden-Julian Oscillation, in the sense that we're in warm phases of the Madden-Julian Oscillation right now, and just in spite of that, we're having near record temperatures this weekend in phase 5, which is a warm phase of the MJO. But because when you have the stratosphere cooperating, and you have either a severe displacement, which is what happened, or a split of the polar vortex, it can overwhelm the Madden-Julian Oscillation, and it doesn't matter what phase it's in, it will keep it cold and cold in the east, and that's why you have this near record-breaking cold this weekend. All right. Speaking of the Madden-Julian Oscillation, all right, Madden-Julian Oscillation is going right now. Like I said, is in phase 5, not a very favorable phase, but because the stratospheric warming took place, and you had a disruption of the polar vortex where it was displaced enough, where the can't spit it out today. The tropospheric polar vortex was sitting over southeastern Canada and just pumped all that cold here into the northeastern United States, despite it being in phase 5, which is normally a warm phase. All right, but this is going to be moving into more favorable phases, and eventually, by the time we get to the second half of the month here, or actually toward the 4th week of the month, we're going to get into phase 8. Phase 8 on the Madden-Julian Oscillation here is what it looks like in a positive ENSO year, which we're in right now. It is an El Nino year. Shows the warmth on the western United States and the cold in the east. Very cold temperatures, in fact. So this is a very good signal in the long range for the Madden-Julian Oscillation. This is showing that it's propagating into phase 7 and phase 8. Both these phases are cold phases here in February. All right, so we get into February, and this is what it's showing here for the month of February as far as what can be expected. So this is dateline forcing. This is what we need in order to get the big troughs in the eastern United States and keep that cold air coming. So when any storms come into and run into that cold air, of course, we're getting wintry precipitation and not rain. So we do have a good setup as we head toward the end of the month here, at least the 4th week of February, heading into at least the first 2 weeks of March. And that's because we're going to be set up in tandem with the stratosphere and the high latitude blocking, in conjunction with a phase 8 signal. And the OLR anomalies are also coinciding with this, as well as the SOI drop, which should lead more amplification in the pattern here and give you a trough in the Aleutians, a ridge out west, and a deep trough in the eastern United States. So this should last for about 3 weeks or so. I'm not too certain once you get beyond March 15th. I think we do have the opportunity, at least, to flip to at least an average or slightly above average temperature regime once we get past mid-month. So for all intents and purposes, today being the 14th, we have about a month left. A month left of winter. And whether or not that means northeastern Pennsylvania will be able to make up all that lost ground that they've had still in single-digit snowfall. I know you're going to get some here on Monday. You might get to double digits finally. But when you're looking down to your south, you're looking at Scranton sitting at about 6-7 inches, and you look down to your south and seeing Allentown, Pennsylvania, not that far away, at 34.7 inches for the year. That's quite a difference. Quite a difference in annual snowfall from Scranton down to Allentown. So you have a lot of ground to make up here for northeastern Pennsylvania. I've heard the gripes on the Facebook page. I understand your complaints, and I feel for you. Yes, we predicted a lot of snow for you there this year as well. It's not working out thus far. I don't know if you're going to make up your ground here. We should get into some snowier periods here. It is going to favor the interior, so you'll have opportunities for snow, but I don't think you're going to make up that lost ground for what we forecasted for up in northeastern Pennsylvania. Elsewhere, we're above normal in central areas. Harrisburg over to Allentown, you're above a normal season snowfall right now. Philadelphia, you are above a normal season snowfall right now. So area southeast of that, same thing. You're above a normal season snowfall. So central and southeastern areas did make out well so far. We're just worried about the northern areas right now. I do think it favors the interior as far as getting snow the rest of winter. How much is still in question. I don't think you're making up 50 or 60 inches of snow, which is going to be your deficit from what we projected. So we'll have to narrow that down a little bit. Hope for the best. Get as much as you can. If you're a snow lover in northeastern Pennsylvania, saying where's the snow? Just cross your fingers that you get as much as you can out of this next month. Here is the look at the cold shot that we had of the models last year. A lot of people say don't look at the long range because it doesn't know what it's doing. It overdoes the long range signals. Well, here's the GFS. This is a week ago, showing the cold shot for the weekend. I'd say that was pretty spot on. Pretty spot on. Here is the cold air projected for this weekend. And you step outside. If you don't believe this, step outside. It's pretty cold outside. So you can still look at the ensemble. The difference is you can't look at the operational guidance. You have to look at the ensemble mean. The ensemble mean gives a better representation of what we can expect as far as temperatures. Temperatures and the overall pattern. You want to take a look at the ensemble mean, not the operational run, because they can be pretty up and down and sporadic. They can change run to run. The ensemble mean gives you a better idea as far as long-term patterns, and that's the way we like to use them. So the long-range pattern did show as we were sitting here back on February 7th that we would be this incredible cold, and it did not. And sometimes these are overdone, but not this time. So just give you an idea what was to come, and that did come to fruition. So don't think you can't looking at long range that is not going to happen just because it's so far out into the future. The next big threat we were looking at here was the 24th to 26th time frame. Here are the ensembles showing a cluster around here, so getting ready to go here. There could be, again, with the amplification of the pattern, there should be a storm signal at least in this time frame. It would make sense to have a storm signal here, and you're getting a bunch of these little low pressure systems showing up here on the ensemble. So we're going to keep an eye on this, because there could be something brewing here along the coast here in the 24th to 26th time frame. That'll be the next one after what we're dealing with on Monday and Tuesday. As far as March snow is concerned, here's the CFS V2. This is total accumulated snowfall for the next 45 days. I will tell you, just by looking at this model run, the majority of this falls in the month of March. So I do think we're going to be pretty active, and these are 4 individual runs of the CFS V2. And they all show a pretty decent amount of snow here. Pretty decent amount of snow. These are all over in the 20 to 28 inch range on at least these two. This one's actually over 30. But this one here is showing 1 to 2 feet. This is a 1 to 2 feet. So across the majority of our coverage area. But you see the idea here. I wasn't really showing you this for the snow total so much. You see the idea here. The idea is it's mostly northwest I-95. And as you get further into the season here, you're less focused on South Jersey, Delaware. Your chances of South Jersey, Delaware diminish, and you increase a little bit further northwest of I-95. We're seeing that with this storm Monday, Tuesday. Now it's going to be far northwest of I-95, but you still get the general idea. The storm tracks are going to change a little bit, even if they are hugging the coast here. Climatology tells you really need some really right setup to get snow all over to the coast now. So you're getting less. Not saying you can't get snow at the coast, because you certainly can, but the idea is percentages. If you're looking at probability, the best chances going forward for the pattern we're going into is for snow in the interior, northwest of I-95, more so than the coast. Just because we're getting later in the year, you're talking about later in February into March. You got the sun angle to deal with. You got a lot of different factors to deal with here. So you're going to favor the interior, northwest of I-95, and the CFS V2 is indicating that here on these model runs. This is a total accumulated snowfall for the next 45 days through the morning of March 29th. All right, and again, I think we're done around the 15th or so before the equinox, but stranger things have happened. We looked at 1958 as our analog going into this year. It's been remarkable how close to 1958 this has been. And we had a storm on March 21st in 1958 that brought us some pretty good snowfall right around the equinox. So, anything can happen. We're gonna take this all the way up through the month of March here and say we're going to be above normal snowfall in March as well, and we'll see how it goes going forward. At least another month of snow coming across our coverage area for all of you. And of course, one last thing is the EPAWA custom models. If you want to take a look at these snow maps that the models are printing out here for the NAM, GFS, Canadian, we have all the snow maps, those in the ensembles, under our weather models page, which you can find at the navigation bar at the very top right of this screen. On the navigation bar, very far right, says weather models. Just click on that, and you can take a look at these models. They are freely available. Another product from Eastern PA Weather Authority that we offer to the general public. I am Eastern PA Weather Authority meteorologist Bobby Martrich. That is this edition of Weather Weeklies for Sunday, February 14th, 2016. We'll see you again next Sunday.